I'm Antonio Graceffo, author of the book The Monk from Brooklyn and the host of the web TV show Martial Arts Odyssey. Welcome to my ESL classroom, where today my students are going to be practicing real English speaking. Mystery. Who can tell me what is a mystery?
Something we don't know.
Something we don't know or something that we don't understand. Very good. What is coincidence? Very good. Okay, so coincidence is two unrelated things. Okay, I drive my motorcycle very fast and I have accident. Is that coincidence?
No.
What is that?
Cause
Cause
and effect.
and effect. I drive my motorcycle very fast and I become fat.
No.
That's coincidence. Unrelated. The point of real English speaking is that in many ESL classrooms, students are taught to memorize and then to dutifully spit out that which the teacher has already told them. Each question has one correct answer, and the student who can give the most correct answers gets the highest marks. In my classroom, what I try and do is constantly ask questions. I ask the students to explain. So when we have vocabulary words, I don't just want them to give me back a definition. I want them to explain the meaning of those vocabulary words. In this week's lesson, we've been learning about the difference between coincidence and cause and effect. And as you see, the students all have a pretty good grasp of what that means. The children to learn to talk without memorizing a story. Now the picture story we're going to do tonight is called The Legend of Rome. Now who can tell me what is a legend? Right, it's a story where some parts are true, some parts are not true. So for example, Wally is a legend, yes or no? Yes? Wally is true? No, not true. What about Mulan? Yes, some things are true, some things not true. Okay, long ago, there was a god of war, and his name was Mars. And he had two sons, and their names are Romulus and Remus. My students have been learning about the different kinds of stories. For example, fables, legends, fairy tales. And rather than have them memorize a list and do some sort of a matching and what are the attributes of a fairy tale, what are the attributes of a fable, instead we tried to learn a few stories, a few examples of each, and that way it would be tangible for the students and they'd always remember it. And he took the two boys back to his poor house. His house looks like a mushroom. And he raised. For people who are familiar with my videos, they'll know that I employ a technique called picture stories, where I draw a story up on the board, I tell the story, and then I invite the children to come up and retell the story. And this is a real speaking exercise where the students are allowed to speak at their own level, in their own words, and retell the story. One of the many aspects of this type of exercise, of picture stories, is that I can use picture stories to teach the students many things beyond the English language. So for example, in Taiwan, the general education system is pretty lacking in terms of global education. The students don't know a lot about anything outside of Taiwan, and they don't know anything about world history. So combining the idea of teaching about legends and teaching about world history, I took the legend of Rome and the story of Romulus and Remus, and I told this to the students. And when the boys grew up, Romulus made a city called Rome, and he made it on the Tiber River, right near the place where the she-wolf found him, Kiki. After I finish the story, I invite the next student to come up and tell it. In these higher level classes, what I'll do is I'll allow another student to add pictures to the story before the new student tells it. So in this case, a really smart alecky boy who's very brilliant, came up and drew a snail and a UFO. And now the girl, Kiki, who's going to tell the story, has to include the snail and the UFO in her version of the story of The Legend of Rome. So actually, the legend gets altered a little bit in my class, but it's a fun way for the kids to practice and also for them to express themselves creatively, because the Taiwanese education system has a lot of rote learning in it. Good job, Kiki. Okay, and we practice telling the story, but sometimes we want to make it more interesting, so we just add some little details, like UFO. Okay, go Jack. And also, it's just very important, if you're learning a foreign language, you have to learn to express yourself creatively, because you're never going to know all the words that you need and all the concepts that you need in a foreign language. So you're going to have to learn to be creative, to manipulate, and use the language that you have. And that's what these kids are doing, and they're having a good time with it.
He told his servant to kill these two babies, but servant became calm, so he didn't kill these two babies. He put them into the basket, take them to the land, and the she-wolf found them, and when it was going to eat the boys, the UFO shot the she-wolf, and the she-wolf dead. And he paid many money to call the snail to eat the baby, but the servant is very kind, so he saved the baby and drive a car and put them into the basket and put them into the river, and a she-wolf found them and give them some food. One day later, a shepherd found them and take them to his own house. When Romulus grew up, he built a city road, and Remus tell his friend alien to use UFO to kill Amumu.
Yeah, he did.
I don't believe. I don't believe so. I need Android.
What's that?
I want Android.
Who wants to be last?
Me. I want Android.
I want Android.
Go. I'll let Joey show you last time. In this particular class, I have 8 students. So after each student tells the story, we add one picture. And the story just keeps getting bigger and bigger and weirder. And they don't all necessarily use the new picture in the same method. So one of them said that Romulus and Remus flew away in the UFO. Another one said that the UFO killed the she-wolf that was about to eat Romulus and Remus when they were found next to the river.
Start killing. A snail come and eat the servant, and the baby crawl into a basket and fall down into the river. And when he going in the water, and Amulio drive a tank and ran after him. But when Amulio ran to a head, and the dinosaur.
And another one said that after Romulus built the city of Rome, then the UFO came and destroyed the city. So it gets pretty funny. And as you'll see, all the students get really excited, and they all want to be last, because then they're going to have the most pictures that they get to talk about. Letting the students add their own pictures is really funny, because then they intentionally try and trip each other up by putting really strange pictures on the board. For example, one of the students put a giant snail. And then what do you do with the giant snail in the story of Romulus and Remus? And somebody else put a car. Again, there's the idea that we need to help the students find creative outlets. We need to help them to be creative, to use their language, to have fun with it. Also in Taiwan, games are very structured events. Games and activities, even for adults, it is very structured. When you go to a company party or event or something, there'll be lotteries and trivia games and things like this. And the idea of just having fun, just relaxing and having fun with no rules isn't very common. So doing that in my classroom, I actually had criticism when I first took over this class that I wasn't playing enough games. And I said, well, why do I need to play games? I said, well, the students will be bored. It's not fun. I said, well, what's not fun about it? There's lots of fun. We're getting to get up and tell funny stories and draw funny pictures. And of course, tonight, as you see, all the parents are there watching, and I got good reviews because I think they understood that their children were having fun, but they were learning English. And that's the important thing.
He driving the UFO. He see the two babies. He is very angry, so he tells his servant to kill them. And the servant takes the baby into the taxi and take them into a forest. When they are in the forest, and kind ghost appear, he talks to the servant, and the.
I'm Antonio Graceffo from Tainan, Taiwan. Thank you for watching our ESL presentation. And please say a prayer for the people of Burma.